So Empress Kennedy strikes back just a couple of days before the release of the Indiana Jones The Dial of Destiny film by James Mangold. We know that she's really preparing to do a lot of press to really kind of build up the anticipation for this movie. And also we are getting a boost in the marketing. This is a new plan by Disney right now to boost fan engagement levels and to get more people into the theater seats. This was something that was done at last minute as they poured more money into the marketing, and that's going to potentially make them lose even more money if this movie fails at the box office that bad as projected. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into the subject. So Kathleen Kennedy, she's been very defensive lately. She's been very much downplaying the fans. She's been calling the people criticizing this movie as toxic fandom. We know that everything related to Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny right now, we've had a mixture of reviews. As far as the good reviews go, I've seen the positives really not seeming all that positive. A lot of those positive reviews are saying things like, oh, it's a little bit better than Crystal Skull. And let me tell you guys, that's really not saying much, if you think about it at all. And those are the lenient reviewers in Hollywood that saw this thing and have no embargoes, by the way, mind you. We're going to be getting more and more reviews coming in day by day, so be prepared for that. We'll be covering all of that very soon. So let's get right into exactly what Kathleen Kennedy had to say about the overall fans really becoming more opinionated about Indy 5 and what she had to really deliver to everybody around the globe. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy and others like Phoebe Waller-Bridge promoting Indy 5 days before its release, she went on to acknowledge the continued fan backlash that she calls premature backlash and began to get very defensive to the community, holding high criticism over the film. Kennedy delivered the following to everyone. Those individuals that claim to be fans are simply not fans, if I have to put it bluntly. These are just individuals looking for attention, trying to create issues for the cast and the crew for a fabulous film. And look, everyone may not like this movie, but fans speaking so loudly like this against the film, I think just need to shut it and shut up for the sake of the hard work that was put into this movie. I can absolutely say this film is a gem. It's not going to be for everyone, that's for sure. It grows on you and takes a couple of viewings to adapt and understand the story fully. Now guys, let me just point something out here. Notice how she says that it takes a couple of viewings to understand this movie. It's like she's low-key telling people, go see this movie multiple times so we can make more money on this thing and to get better box office results. That's what it's translating to me, at least. I don't know about you, but that's absolutely what it translates to me. So once again, we know that Kathleen Kennedy is getting very defensive, telling the fans to shut it and shut up about being so toxic and being so outspoken. And look, we have the ability to speak our minds, alright? This is nothing more than criticism, something that we are very passionate about. And I don't believe that when they say people are being very toxic for being so outspoken and opinionated, I do not believe in the slightest that they are toxic. These are just passionate people that have fond memories of these movies and of these franchises that connect to either their childhoods or to their fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, whatever have you, and it brings them back. And to have a franchise like this go downhill, it somewhat tarnishes some point of those memories. If you go ahead and see these things, it kind of interferes with that. And I think that's why at the end of the day, a lot of people have steered clear from Star Wars, have steered clear from Indiana Jones, is because they don't want to tarnish those memories any further. They want to keep those, good, nostalgic memories and feelings and emotions in place. Because you don't want to become too jaded to the point where you begin to dislike the older stuff, right? So moving on to the next thing, this is where Kathleen Kennedy goes on to elaborate further about everything related to Indy 5, alright? This is where it gets a little crazy. So she says, the problem lies with the negative criticism that we have been receiving over practically nothing more than a couple of different opinions out of Cannes Film Festival, and we just think it's very childish. But that's the culture we live in today. It's as if you can't have a film with diversity or a female lead to star in the show. Here we go again. She's pulling the diversity and female lead cards. She goes on to state further, this is proof or the problems that we are living in today. And sometimes, just like the creators of The Last of Us said, sometimes you have to trick your audience into accepting this to make them adapt. It practically is the only way. Fans are absolutely overreacting to our approach with this film and need to really take a step back and accept what Mr. Mangold created for us and for the world. And now, before I get to the last piece, guys, what she says, obviously, this is horrible because this is a very bad approach by Kennedy. She's dialing to the Last of Us creators. You guys may recall they did say something like that. They said something around the lines of what Kennedy just described, that you have to like kind of manipulate your audience into getting stuck into these agendas that they're pushing to adapt yourselves. Something like that. This is what Kathleen Kennedy's saying. I do remember that vaguely. I just can't remember the exact words about what the Last of Us creator said. But moving to the next thing here, alright, she goes on to state further, Phoebe Waller-Bridge made some excellent pieces to the story as well that we are so proud of. And in this business, you need multi-talents a part of a film sometimes. So we were blessed to have that on board with us. Now, guys, to elaborate on that, in case you guys did not know, Phoebe Waller-Bridge did contribute to the script of this movie. She didn't write anything per se. But what she did do was that she did actually add to the story with the approval of James Mangold. So basically, Mangold took Phoebe Waller-Bridge's ideas of what should be done to Indiana Jones and applied it to this film. So basically, it was Waller-Bridge's idea to make Indiana Jones a broken man. We've talked about this, and how he is basically going to be the Luke Skywalker of the Indiana Jones film. So, if you guys did not like Luke in The Last Jedi, you know, being a broken man, carrying all this weight, having a lot of emotional problems, you know, etc., 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 that's applying to Indiana Jones in this movie, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Helena Shaw is going to be calling a lot of the shots in this film, calling a lot of the decisions. She's almost like the leader at times, many times, mind you, and leading the way. And that's why, you know, a lot of fans are not up for Indiana Jones being along for the ride instead of being the ride, right? So here's the other problem that lies within this, is that you can't insult your audience. No matter how highly negative they may seem, you can't insult your audience, because obviously that's bad press, that's obviously a bad approach, and it's not going to help. The best thing that you can do right now is to just sit back yourself, Kathleen Kennedy, and just see what happens without saying anything. That's all you can really do. And I don't think no matter how much you market this thing, how many more ads are put out at last minute, I don't think it's going to really change much. Sure, you may get a lot of people that go ahead and see this movie, you know, whether it's true fans or just regular moviegoers that know nothing about Indiana Jones. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with those reviews, if they're going to spike all the way up to positive levels, or if they're just going to have a little bit of a bump on Rotten Tomatoes where it kind of flatlines around 70% or so, or maybe 69%. That's going to be interesting. Those are the two big possibilities. So guys, I would love to hear your opinion and takes on this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.